These are my first impressions of some ARM locking tuners from AliExpress, and a few comparisons with other far more expensive tuners. They appeared to be well machined and well plated in the photos. I don't know anything about this cheap locking tuner world. There's a fair few out there. They all look fairly similar. Are there any cheap locking tuners you'd recommend? I didn't realise, but apart from the button, they're modelled fairly closely on the Shaler M6 tuners, which are priced absurdly. They look pretty. The outward appearance and the plating matches the photos. Internally there's a bit of grease, and unfortunately there are also many brass shavings and tool marks. I got the worst of it out, and then I realised I should have taken photos. I still have to clean them further and then re-grease. Most of it probably will go unnoticed, but there were some long strips of brass shavings that should not have been in the worm gear. To be quite clear, they're not made to the tolerances of more expensive tuners. They've got quite a bit of slop, like this stamped steel machine head. It doesn't necessarily mean they're bad. Worm gears don't slip, and you always tune up to the note to remove the backlash, right? And there's a lot of backlash in the worm gears, so I can turn all of them about this much. So let's introduce some Planet Waves made by Ping, and some Gotoh 510 tuners, both much more expensive, which is not a fair comparison at all, but let's see. All of the tuners feel very nice and precise, at least at the button. The arm tuners are actually slightly easier to turn, possibly because of the large tolerances. And even when mounted in the bushing, there's still a lot of slop on the arm tuner. The Gotoh and the Planet Waves have imperceptible shaft play. Interestingly, the ARM bushings are interchangeable with the Gotoh bushings, same thread, and can fit in the same stepped hole, 8mm on top, 10mm on the bottom, whereas the Planet Waves and Shaler need a 10mm hole both sides. The knurled locking knob looks somewhat like a Shaler. A couple of them have got casting dags partially covering the holes, which I'll have to knock out. And like Shaler or Spurzle, there's a pin inside the shaft that bears upon the string, so we'll see how that goes. In terms of the dimensions, they all fit on the same footprint, but with slightly different screw sizes. The Gotoh locking knob is captive and comes up this much. The arm knob also turns out to be captive and comes up a lot further, which is good as you'll need to access to clean it and adjust it. They crudely crimp the tube to capture the shaft. Planet Waves shaft comes right out, and the worm gear is fully sealed. The Planet Waves shaft is 3mm in diameter with a large thread. Whereas the Gotoh and the ARM have a 2.5mm diameter shaft. The screws that prevent rotation are not interchangeable. The worm wheel appears to be fitted to a tapered shaft, and consequently, if loose, there's a lot of play. Two of these tuners had loose nuts, and the worm wheel was moving around on the shafts, which was pretty disappointing. You need a 6mm spanner to adjust them. We'll see how it goes. If they come loose again, I may try some Loctite 222 on the threads. Gotoh possibly have something similar, but you can't access the nut, and you won't need to, as they're all set correctly, and they haven't altered in the time that I've used them. By the way, use a JIS screwdriver for Asian machine head screws. It just fits perfectly. You'll never slip again. In terms of weight, they're heavy. 6 of them is 1/4 kilogram, or a little over half a pound. Gotohs are a little less. Stamped steel tuners are a lot less. Your Ned Steinberger Planet Waves with the hardened steel cutting mechanism are getting up there. Interestingly, the locking and non-locking Gotoh 5 tuners are about the same weight. I think the locking one uses more aluminium. In terms of height, as far as I can tell, they come in one height, no staggered option. Planet Waves are similar, just the one height. Gotoh come in staggered sets, and you can also get a height adjustable version. Planet Waves are okay on a tilt-back headstock, but you'll probably still need a string tree on a flat headstock. Gotohs let you remove the string tree, as there was almost no post sticking up at all on the further strings. Unboxing. Yeah, they come in a box. Inside the box is a single plastic bag, and they're all jumbled up in there. Maybe I'll update after I've used them for a while.